Hey everyone, so this is Veronica Mars, Season 1, Episode 12, called Clash of the Tritons. So, this really has, again, two storylines. Main mystery of the week, and then um, the sort of secondary one. The first one has to do with a kid named Tim who um, was found having been tasked or having been um, found passed out because of alcohol poisoning. Um, and one of his friends, Rick, blames Veronica for giving both him and Tim fake IDs. So Veronica sets out to prove her innocence, essentially. Um, so this whole thing starts off with Rick being asked to the principal's office, where Sheriff Don Lamb is waiting. And this is where he finds out that his friend has, got his stomach pumped and is in a coma because of alcohol poisoning and all that. So then this is where he explains we got the fake IDs from Veronica Mars. So Veronica then goes to her locker where she's summoned to, and she has fake IDs, blank fake IDs stuffed, having been stuffed in her locker, um, and they find in her purse fake IDs she made for herself. So she claims, well, the fake IDs in my purse are mine, but the ones in my locker aren't. So she eventually confronts Rick and finds out that he and Tim, who are also juniors just like Veronica, were they got accepted to the secret society called the Tritons. And so there are these six guys, and during their senior or junior year of high school, they're accepted into this club by six seniors. And um, this year just happens to be where Tim and Rick were asked to join. Um, and they have to do these like 12 labors or something like that, where, and I think this the one of the, you know hazing, it's like basically hazing. So one of the hazing things they have to do is they are given fake IDs, um, and they're asked to go to 12 different bars, and at each bar they have to drink a certain amount of shots. So, like, the first bar is one shot, the second bar 2 shots, and each subsequent bar you have to take or you have to take um, the next shot amount of shots that is in line, which ends up with you drinking 12 shots at the 12th bar. And at bar 11, Tim couldn't do it anymore and passed out. So, and all that stuff. So, Veronica sets out to figure out who these mysterious Tritons are, um, and um, and Rick, eventually tells her that the six inductees are everyone, like the who's who, or the six. Well, the inductees are the six guys, but so these six guys these six juniors are people that you would expect, people who, guys who are part of student council, varsity sports, stuff like that, and one of whom is Duncan. So she decides to follow Duncan um, by putting a checker on his car. So um, she ends up like both she and Wallace manage to um, follow him to a karaoke bar essentially, and she tries to talk to him, but he's like speaking in code, and so um, she gets a note from him saying that the Tritons will only speak to her if she goes up on stage and sings. So she does that, gets another note saying that they're going to meet her in the bathroom to speak, and turns out it's just a guy that was paid off to do this. Um, but before they, I think, before they go to this karaoke bar though, um, Rick also tells her that the way he got his fake ID was he had to put $250 into a top locker, which is locker 110, in the morning, and then in the afternoon, there'd be a new ID waiting for him um, in his locker. So she has Wallace put $250 in his name into the locker. Well, $250 of her money. So before he does that, she sets up a video camera to record video of um, people who would go into the locker to see who was setting her up. Um, so after the karaoke bar, she goes back to school, gets the videotape. She planted it in the display case that was across the hall from locker 110. Um, and figures out who set her up, essentially, um, by looking at the video. And so she goes to Lamb's office the next day after that and tells him, you know what, because at this point she's been suspended, so she's not allowed on campus. So she's like, look, I'll stay here until 5 o'clock today, and if I don't have the real criminal in your office by 5 o'clock, I'll walk into the courthouse for my hearing for a little something extra, and um, and plead guilty to everything. So she ends up calling Rick saying they're going to call the real criminal and all that. So lo and behold, Rick comes walking in at just before 5 or something like that, and um, she explains, well, it was process of elimination because I didn't do it, so it had to have been him because he blamed the Tritons because he wasn't actually selected for the secret society, even though his older brother and father were. Uh, but he also blames Keith, and by association Veronica, because Keith, while he was still sheriff, went after a hedge fund manager who was embezzling money, which happened to be Rick's father. Um, but what Rick didn't know, or what Keith didn't know, was that Rick's father he worked for a company that cheated him out of a bonus 3 years in a row. So because of that, his father went to jail. The government and the sheriff's department took everything from his family, and eventually his parents got a divorce, and so why not only stick it to the Tritons, but stick it to Veronica? Um, so that's the case of the week, and then the little side storyline is Rebecca James, Veronica's guiding counselor, gets a grant to study grief in adolescence, and she decides to talk to people who were hit the hardest by Veronica's death, Veronica being one of them. So Veronica initially planned on not participating until she gets this idea to plant a listening device in Rebecca's office to listen to everyone who talks with her. Um, so she goes to the office with a fake stapler, or with a stapler embedded with a listening device. She knocks the stapler off of Rebecca's desk accidentally and um, places the stapler with the listening device on her desk, and after she's, suspended, she starts listening in on everyone's conversations with Rebecca. So um, she hears that, the first thing that she hears is that um, Weevil was actually involved with Lily, and um, he took her death hard because she broke up with him not too long before she was killed. Excuse me. Um, and Lily and Weevil were in the same PE class, and she wanted to transfer out because like I said, she ended the whole thing with him, and she ended the whole thing with him and wanted out of the PE class because she didn't want to be around him. So and we find out that they got together on one of her and Logan's many breaks, and then all of a sudden she's back with Logan and stuff like that. So um, after breaking off with Weevil, and so she wonders if like that scene that we saw at the beginning of the season, where in the flashback where Lily tells Veronica she has this big secret. So Veronica wonders if this is like the big secret that Lily was talking about. Um, Veronica then overhears, Logan talking to Rebecca, saying that he blames Veronica for Lily's death because um, Veronica had told her about Logan kissing another girl, and if she hadn't done that, um, Logan and Lily would have still been together. Because I guess we assume that shortly after, um, Veronica told Lily about Logan kissing another girl, like not too long, like seriously not too long after that, Lily was killed. So he blames her for, partly for her death. Um, Veronica also hears Duncan is not only on antidepressants but other medications he doesn't actually specify um, at at the time of her listening in on this. Excuse me. Um, so she's wondering what are these mystery um, what are these mystery medications he's on. Um, and that's really the only things that she overhears. The other sort of mini storyline that we get is Aaron Eccles goes to Keith to figure out who is spilling these, I guess you could call them juicy stories to the tabloids. Um, and he comes to find out that it's actually Lynn who's feeding the stories to the tabloids. So Aaron confronts Lynn at Neptune High, saying, "You know what? If you try to leave me, I will leave you with nothing." Um, and Lynn explains the reason why she had decided to um, do all of this is because she wanted him to be humiliated, just as humiliated as he had made her feel. So, um, and then at the very last scene is Lynn's car is being found on the corner of a bridge, hadn't been abandoned, and all that stuff. So, that's the entire episode. I thought this was one of the better episodes because Veronica is the one in trouble this time instead of like somebody else. Um, and I feel this to me this feels more like a real who done it for me. Some of these episodes don't really feel like that. Um, but this one really just gives me the feeling that it's like a real who done it rather than like I don't know, because I feel like sometimes like some previous episodes and maybe even some of the episodes after this are really just like a paint by numbers, just like not really that, just a really meh kind of whodunit, not really a good one. I mean, it's okay, but it's not great. Whodunit, like a weekly whodunit. But this one to me just I don't know what it was about it, but something about this episode really felt like a true whodunit to me. Um, like the it's like an Agatha Christie novels essentially. It's like a that caliber of whodunit. So, um, or like Sherlock Holmes or whatever. That this sort of like it something I really just don't know what it was about this episode that felt more like a Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie sort of whodunit type of thing. I don't know, but I mean it felt more like that to me, and this is probably one of my favorite episodes. Even if like it does involve someone having been hazed and gotten uh, put into the hospital because of drinking too much alcohol, even though they're underage and all that. So, but that's all I really have for this episode, and I will see you guys next time.